Just wait for her to join. Okay. Miss Shirley, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yes. I see you. I'm trying to make sure my lives, everybody's keeping chiming in, so I'm just trying to make sure everything's good on our end.
Okay. No
All
problem.
Right. All right. Yes, ma'am. All right. Let me introduce myself, y'all. My name is 𝗦𝗵𝗶𝗿𝗍𝗲. I am the host of Midnight R&B Edition, homage to Midnight Love BET, where I give all my flowers to all my R&B artists, songwriters, producers, engineers, you name it, I am here. I am here, y'all, with the R&B legend, who I listened to since the age of 9 years old. R&B legend, icon, the lady I looked up to when I was a little girl. So blessed to have her on my show. R&B and gospel singer and songwriter. Yes, I had to put songwriter on there. The one and only Miss Shirley Murdock. Thank you so much.
Hi, baby. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. You scared me today. I got so scared when you was on that phone. I said, oh my God, it's Miss Shirley Murdock.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Look, I am just, that made my day. When I say today, I was just like a little down and out because of everything that has happened since, you know, our winter storm. It's been so crazy, but I'm so blessed and so honored to have you on my show. You have really changed the game so much, and I'm blessed and honored to have you on this live to honor and celebrate the 35th anniversary of, oh yes, my God, your self-titled debut album.
Well, listen, it is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you. And I have been praying. We have been praying for everybody in Texas. Everybody's going through this crazy weather. Because I know, see, I'm from Ohio. I'm used to that, okay? But I know you guys were not prepared for that. So I've been calling, checking on my friends. It's like, hey, you got heat, you got water, you warm, you okay? I'm sending you a big warm bear hug.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I mean, you know what, Miss Shirley, I was so blessed to even have lights on because all my friends, all my family members, they was making sure I was okay because a lot of them don't have lights right now. So they're still kind of struggling. But, you know, by the grace of God's mercy and his grace, Amen, he gave me lights.
Yes, let there be light.
Let there be light. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. But, you know, before we do get started, I wanted to ask you, since now we're in a new year, Happy New Year to you. 2021. So happy. How have you been dealing since we now in this crazy pandemic and everything has happened?
It's been crazy for me as well, you know, but I think the thing that has really kept me centered has been my faith. You know, trusting in God. You know, this pandemic has a way of making you hit reset in a lot of areas in your life, but also even in your faith, knowing that God will provide. Because for me, you know, I'm used to being out there with the people, doing concerts, doing plays, and you know, ministering. But you know, all that got shut down with COVID, so we had to find new ways and new avenues to stay connected to the people. So we're definitely using technology. You know, we're using our Facebook, using all of our platforms to stay connected and to be able to minister to people, to be able to encourage their hearts, you know, with our music. So it's been rough, you know, but if I had to be stuck with anybody, I'm glad that I was stuck here with my husband and my son. So I'm really blessed. I keep up with all my brothers and sisters. You know, we haven't really seen each other, but we call all the time. And, you know, every now and then, you know, with my in-loves, we might do like a FaceTime, like for Thanksgiving. Everybody cooked their particular specialty and got on Zoom and was so you know, thank God for technology.
Amen. Amen. I truly do because I know for me last year was so rough. I lost my dad and I just had so much tragedy last year. And so for me, it was just really like a wake up call to see where my life was going because, you know, my dad was my last parent. So that alone right there kind of just really shaped me for who I was and just learned to maintain myself.
Let me say this to you because my mom passed away before my dad, and it's been 22 years from my dad. It was 2012 22 years with mom and 2012 with my dad. And so I remember when my birthday came around, like after my dad, it was like, I ain't got no parents.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but you know, but God he will fill those empty spaces. And I want you to know that your mama and your daddy, they're not in your past, baby, they are in your future.
Come on.
And so, you know, he was able to deliver them safely back into his arms. And isn't that what this living thing is all about? Living to live again. So one day you'll never have to say goodbye ever again. And so, you know, you celebrate their life, you celebrate their legacy, and with your, you know, parents, with my mom, if I wonder like, hey, what would mama say? What would mama do in this particular situation? It's like this. Mom and dad have made deposits into your life. So
Come
you
on.
know
Whew.
what they would say. So, you know, it's already in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, you know, we know that God is faithful and he'll turn those bitter tears of sorrow to sweet tears of joy. So be
Ooh, Shirley about to
encouraged,
have me
honey.
crying.
So, but you know, it'd be that good cry. Wait a minute. Have you
Yeah.
ever noticed after you have a good old snotty cry, how you feel much better?
Yeah, I do. That's
Ain't
why I
that
go,
crazy?
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. That means so much to me, and from the bottom of my heart. Even though I have no parents anymore. You know, God has provided me through triumphs and tribulations. But you know what? You know, if it wasn't for my best friend Cece, who I love so much, from the bottom of my heart, that's been there for me through everything, through thick and thin, you know, I wouldn't know where I am today. So, Miss Shirley, I thank you
Yeah.
so much for that
Yeah.
testimony. I really do,
Yeah.
from the bottom of
He
my heart.
doesn't leave you empty. He places people in your life to fill that space. So I'm happy for you, sweetie.
Thank you so much. So now, since we on our little spill, now since we have I needed that little breath of fresh air for me. I wanted to talk to you because I know today is the 35th anniversary of your Self-Titled Dating Me album. And before I want to start going back on memory lane. I wanted to ask you, because I know you're from Toledo, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you about how you grew up from there, and how did you get your love for R&B and gospel music, and how did you get your start in the music industry?
Well, like you said, I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, and as a young girl, you know, I'm sitting in front of the TV watching them Shirley Temple movies, the matinees. You know, her name was Shirley, and she could sing and she could dance, and I just said, you know, one day that's going to be me. I saw myself, you know, recognizing her mirroring, or me mirroring, the talents that she had, and realizing that I could do that one day.
Yeah.
I grew up, you know, like you said, in Toledo, listening, but see, you know, Detroit was just right up I-75. So, you know, I have a lot of Detroit influences, be it Aretha Franklin. I remember being a little girl, honey, sitting in front of the hi-fi, you know, putting the needle on the record, you know, back in the day when they would skip, you put like a nickel or a dime on it.
Yeah.
You might be way too young for that. But, excuse me, but, you know, I listened to her records that had those great big air traffic controller headphones on, and now they're called Beats.
Beats headphones,
Beats,
yes.
you know, and so I would listen, and I would mimic, I would sing along, I'd throw my head back, baby. I thought I was Aretha. And I remember when I was very young, I might have been like about 9 years old, and my mom caught me singing Dr. Feelgood with so much fervor, with so much feeling. She said, baby, I know you don't know what you're singing about, but you sound like you do. So why don't you just leave that alone till you get grown? So Aretha was somebody that I listened to. Gladys Knight was so soulful, and Stevie Wonder, all those runs. And then and when it came to gospel, it was still Aretha Franklin. It was the Clark sisters. It was, you know, all the people coming out of Detroit. So I think I sound a lot like the people in Detroit. But you know, I grew up singing in my church choir, and when I gave my life to the Lord when I was 15, I thought that it was only gonna be gospel music. But I was singing weddings and funerals and things, and I remember singing a song by Natalie Cole, Inseparable. And I watched the reaction of the people, and I'm telling you, Chastity, it was like as if I was singing gospel. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold up. This is not gospel. Why am I feeling the anointing, okay? And why are these people reacting like this?
Yeah.
And what I came to conclude was, it's not what I sing, it's where I sing from. So I sing from a place of where that God has touched. He's touched my voice. This voice is a gift from him, and he's touched it. So I can hone my skills, I can practice, but if God don't touch it, baby, you know, it might tickle your ears, but it won't lift the burden. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I, you know, I grew up like that, and ministering with the crusade. You know, it was called the End Time Revival Evangelistic Crusade. We traveled all over the country doing revivals and being in the city for a week, and it just so happened that one particular we did a crusade in Toledo, and the theme of that particular crusade was called Jesus is Love. So we adopted the Commodore song, Jesus is Love, and my mom had a tape of me singing it. So my cousin Jill worked for Troutman Enterprises in Dayton. That was for the Roger Troutman camp, the ZAP camp. And so she came to visit, and my mother let her hear what I was doing. Like, what's Shirley doing? Everybody in the family knew I could sing. And she said, well, she's out with a crusade. And by the way, here's her singing Jesus is Love. So she begged my mom, please, Aunt Sil, please let me take this. I'll make a copy for you. I'll make 4 copies for you. Just let me have a copy. Let me take it back to Dayton. So Roger Troutman heard it, Larry Troutman heard it, and they were like, okay, does she want to make records? Does she want to sing? So when I came back home, my family was deep, girl. They was like, woo, Zap and Roger Troutman. I'm like, okay, who is Zap and who is Roger and what is a Zap? You know? So it's not like I wasn't, familiar with music. I listened to the radio, but I wasn't so, into R&B that I knew who the artists were at that particular time. If you asked me about the Winans, or you asked about the Clark sisters, or Tremaine Hawkins, I could tell you. And so my oldest sister and I went to Dayton to talk with Roger. Now, prior to that, I had many opportunities. People were asking me, do you want to make a record? But it was always going to be R&B. So I said, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. So when I talked to Roger, I told him, no, thank you, too. I said, because I want to sing gospel. But they didn't have any connections in that area. And they said, well, listen, if you ever want to give this music a try, we want to help you. So I left there, Chastity, thinking, God, why? Why is this the only door that's opening for me? Could this be you? Could this be the door that you have for me? So, baby, I just walked by faith through the door that God opened, and the rest is history.
Wow. I think that is so amazing. I'm so happy. And I was just thinking, too, because I know 1986 was such a huge role when you got your record deal. And for me,
actually, I had my record deal before that.
Oh, 86 at the time, but right. 83.
Yeah, I got my record deal while I was still living in Toledo.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay.
And so Roger asked me to move to Dayton so we could make my record because he said, you're fresh out the church. You know what I mean? You used to just going for it. He said, but I have to teach you how to sing in the studio and teach you how to sing in the pocket. So I moved to Dayton to do that. And then he asked me to come out and sing background for him while I was still making my record. So we can go from there. But yeah, it was before that.
Yes, ma'am. And I wanted to say, because you did get your record deal around that time, I'm so happy you talked about how your cousin played an intricate role about you meeting Roger Trout and Larry Trout. And I feel like to me around that time, Troutman, sorry, Roger Troutman.
No problem.
Around that time, for me, I just feel like for me, they were like your Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So looking back around that time, I was like, they were really like the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis of Miss Shirley Murdock.
Their time, right.
So doing that, I was like, wow, this is like really amazing. So now you're in the realms of them going with Zap, and now you're making this song called Computer Love. So with Computer Love, how did you get on that record? Because Computer Love is just this timeless record that people keep playing over again. It's been sampled over 105 times. I realized that. And Tupac sampled it 3 times. So that alone right there, how do you feel about Computer Love, and what you learn from that experience from Computer Love and doing the songwriting and everything else?
Well, I feel really honored to be a part of Computer Love, to not only sing on Computer Love with Charlie Wilson and Roger Troutman, but I co-wrote the song. I wrote the lyrics to Computer Love. And so it's amazing because we had no idea how ahead of our time we were.
Yeah.
Not knowing that people would start really, dating, and especially in COVID, people are meeting, and meeting and getting married. I know people who met their significant other online. Yeah. And it's crazy. But I remember writing that song, and just wanting to. Okay, the story behind that. Roger was kind of feeling like people might be a little tired of hearing the talk box. Okay. So he was talking to my husband, Dale DeGroat, who was a producer and his music director. And Dale was saying, well, I don't think they're tired of hearing the talk box. Maybe just try it another way, like maybe a love song, like maybe between 2 computers or something. And so, so Dale laid down the beat, boom, boom, that, okay? And then Roger came with Computer Love, right? And then, so then Charlie Wilson happened to come in town. And then Charlie Wilson he started singing, and Roger's was the type of dude, if he didn't want to waste nothing, he'll tape your mouth and shut it down until you're ready to record you or whatever. He said, don't waste it. No, don't waste it. So, when Charlie came in, so like I said, there were no verses at that time. So whatever Roger did with the talk box, Charlie just brought his Charlie Wilson, woo! He brought his voice in, computer love, computer love,
yes.
So Roger did, he did, and then you know, I remember Roger and I going to the rehearsal hall and just working out, you know, lyrics and things. And you know, I've been searching for someone who can share that special love with me. And your eyes have that glow. So yeah, so it's amazing because after all these years, I mean, I think just most recently, let's
Usher.
see, Usher did it. Was that
Neo.
Bad Habits? Or Bad
That's
Habits, and
Neo.
Neo and Jeremiah, and
Mm-hmm.
also Justin Bieber did it as well. So yeah, it's crazy. And so the good thing is that the check ain't bad.
And I don't blame you. And you know, I told your husband and us this on the phone today. They had a young lady, shout out to her. She is on the podcast called the Do Yourself a Favorite podcast, where she's like a biased person that loves music, and she actually just dissected the history of Computer Love. So if you ever get a chance to see that, she actually honored the song, and she just went down the history, just talked about how this song just gravitates to what we do today. We do social media, we interact with people. I met my first boyfriend on MySpace, so definitely this song played a part.
Ooh, you went way back. MySpace.com. Well, so, you know, if you get a chance, send me that link. I would love to check it out.
Yes, ma'am, I got you. She was a dope podcast, and she talked so highly about you. She had went to how the beginning of how the song was created, how Roger Troutman and Larry Troutman really just took the song and just made it come to life. You really made it come to life yourself, having a woman on there just dominate the parts that I love so much. So for me to you, I just thank you so much for that. My family, we played it when I was 14. So
wow.
I'm like, what is this song? They was like, this Computer Love. I'm like, okay. So I got a little head bop, and I was like, cool.
Well, you know, another thing that Roger did that was very innovative is he layered my voice with the talk box. So therefore, like, I would do a chop, and then he would mimic my chop with the talk box, and that kind of gave it more of a human sound. So if you really listen to the early records like More Bounce and all that, to Computer Love, to I Want to Be Your Man, you can really understand the talk box even more, because it's like it grew.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that we had such a wonderful music marriage, you know, together.
They were your Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and I feel
absolutely
for me, the talk box really played an intricate role, and I realized it for myself. I was like, if it wasn't for the Troutman brothers, for Zab, we wouldn't have Devontae Swing use that talk box. We wouldn't have T-Pain use that talk box. So y'all really were the pioneers for that.
Mr. Talk Box.
And Mr. Talk Box.
Byron Chambers.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and he big influence on Mr. Talkbox. So yeah, but it's amazing, you know, that you can have an influence on another generation, and that also helps your legacy to live on and on, even after you're long gone. You know, the memory and your the power of your music lives on and on and on. So through that next generation. So that's a blessing. So Computer Love had kids and grandkids.
Yes. It really did. So around that time, Miss Shirley, did you get your record deal with Elektra, or how did that come in process when you got that record deal?
My record deal with Elektra came before Computer Love. After I decided to go ahead and do the R&B, and I told God I was never gonna leave. I was never gonna leave Him. I was never gonna leave church. I was never gonna leave my relationship with Him to pursue this career. I looked at it like a job, and I would take my relationship with God to every job that I've ever held. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So whether you're a teacher, preacher, bus driver, ditch digger, you know, you just do you wherever God places you. You know.
That's right.
And so God placed me in an organization that was very family oriented, so it felt comfortable. It was also a drug-free organization, so I didn't have those types of things, you know, especially being so innocent coming out of church, you know, so I didn't have that. And they knew who I was and what I stood for, so they were very respectful to me as a woman and as a Christian woman, you know. And so and they would even make people be, you know, if somebody came in the dressing room and they were cussing or whatever, Roger would say, "Is a lady here," you know. So they always looked out for me and taught me so much in the music business. So you know, they shopped, you know, we did a demo and they shopped that with various record companies, and we felt like Elektra was the one to go to.
Oh, I think that is just so amazing. And I talked to one of my friends about you, and I told her, I was like, one thing about Shirley Murdock, you can hear the pure gospel in your voice. And for me, you exude Christianity. You exude what it is to be a woman, about her faith, about her morals, and about her values. And so for me, you know, at that time when I was growing up and learning, because I learned about you through TD Jakes' album. So when I learned about you around that time, I was like, my mom had TD Jakes' cassette tape, Sacred Love Songs. And
yeah,
so
yeah, the Sacred Love Songs. Yeah.
She
found herself.
Yes.
She found her love for
life.
Then
the two of them joined together
in the Lord. And you were my ministry.
Yes.
Yes. And we needed those. You know, marriages and relationships need that, you know?
Yes. And for me, I think I was so touched by your voice at 9 years old. I was like, who is that lady? So when I realized it was you all those years later, I was like, wait a minute. Whoa. I'm like, this is who I was listening to at 9 years old. So for me to be so touched by you at 9 years old, just listening from the gospel circuit first, before I knew you were R&B, I was like, yeah, this woman is very heavenly. Her voice just does something to people. It touches my heart. It touches my soul. I was like, whoever she is, I'm going to find out later on in life. And when I did my research on you growing up when I was a little girl, I was like, I love her. I think she's so amazing.
What's in you comes out you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So now, since we're in the process of you getting your record there, now you're in the process of your self-titled debut album. So we're going back in time, Miss Shirley, 1985 to 86. So how was it making the process of Shirley Murdock?
It was amazing. You know, we had a lot of, Roger was on the road. And so that's when he asked me to go on the road. So we were making my record. The first year I came to Dayton, I was in the studio with various producers, working on, working on other projects that he had. Like I sang on Sugarfoot's project from the Ohio Players and different people that he produced. And so I remember one particular song that's on my debut album called "Go On Without You."
Yes, that's my
song. So now, when I went in with the producer to work on that, it had no verses. We sung the hook. You left, my world came to an end. Then you came back again. Now I know there is no way I can go on without you.
Yeah, so, I'm going with you with the words, but I'm just a fan. So,
so we did that, right? And so then the producer asked me. It was me and Billy Beck. Me and Billy Beck did those backgrounds, and I was asked to sing on the vamp. Okay, now if you're singing on the vamp, you're kind of concluding what the song is all about. So since I didn't hear any verses, I'm like, okay, well, I have to think. Okay, now you left, my world came to an end. What would make I wasn't in a relationship. It's like, okay, so what would make my world come to an end? My world would absolutely come to an end if I lost the Lord. Woo! So I sung so for me, it was gospel. I sung from that place, that richness, that deepness, that feeling of what it would feel like to lose God, how devastated I would be. But then it said, and then you came back again. Now I know. Woo! Hallelujah. So it was that end of the spectrum and that end of the spectrum, from being devastated to being so happy and elated to be reunited. So then I sung in the vamp. So in the vamp, the things that I said and the way I delivered it, it was truly gospel for me. And then when Roger heard me singing in the vamp, he said, okay, Go On Without You goes on Shirley's record. Yes! And then we went back and got the story. And it's so funny because he wanted me to redo that, to redo the vamp. I said, nope. I said, I really don't want to redo the vamp because I felt that.
Amen.
So I felt that, and I didn't want to take the feeling off of it. So what I was feeling was so organic. You had to be mindful because we can go back and fix it again. But I remember a producer said, you don't want to take all the stank off of it. You don't want to take all the fix it so much till it's you take the feeling off. So it's nothing with a little rawness. It's okay if the feeling is there. So that's how Go On Without You got on my record. And then we started working on other songs because at that time, who was out was like Vanity, you know, all the
Yeah.
really kind of like ladies that didn't have such a heavy or gospel voice like mine.
Yeah.
So, you know, we tried to put some songs in that field also. And I was kind of nervous because, you know, coming straight out of the church and all this big gospel voice. And I didn't hear that on the radio. But then when Jennifer Holiday came out with, and I am telling you, I said, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right.
Yes. And I think too, and that's so great that you talk about that, because I know 86 was such, like I said, was such a big year. It was you, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Anita Baker. I mean, I could go on and on. Y'all really were dominating the charts, because when I look back on a lot of...
Anita was my record, my label mate.
Oh.
And Howard Hewitt too.
oh my God, Howard Hewitt is one of my favorite male singers, gospel. I mean, he's just
a wonderful guy. We're still friends to this day.
Oh, yeah. That is just so amazing. Like, it's just, for me, like, looking back at a lot of the history, what y'all did for 86, it really took a huge turn. And shout out to my friend JR. We had a conversation about this. We talked about how 86 played a huge role in shift where R&B was going. Y'all were coming into a realm where I realized for myself that a new Jack Swing was coming. It was a sound of R&B that was about to take over and dominate, but at the same time, hip hop was in control as well. So it was starting to come in that way. Like, R&B was dominating, and rap was just taking over.
Curtis, it was booming, right.
Booming. So for that alone right there, you really, I feel for me, you are one of the pioneers. You and Zap were really the pioneers of how the way the sound was going at the time. So looking back at that in 86, it really was like R&B, our people was really about to make a change for the better for our music. And I just love that. And so now when you talk about going out for you and No More, I love No More too. And I love Truth or Dare. I love that. But the one record that really, really stands out to me, I think that really is your signature song that everybody loves and everybody's so excited about, is As We Lay. Whoo, As We Lay. As We Lay is one of those records. And I don't think I told your husband this, but I had a conversation. I told him. In the New York Times, they recently just had an article, actually in December of 2020. And it was a guy, he did a student op-ed about the 2020 greatest songs of all time. You were in that article.
What?
It was, yes, you were. Yes, ma'am. It was to a point where this guy, he talked about how the way subjectivity was kind of like the meaning of songs and what it meant back in the day. And it was a part where he had an article about Power 99. I guess it was a radio station back in the day. And he said that for, in his article, and I'm being God's honest truth, Miss Shirley, he said for himself, he said that Shirley Murdock, As We Lay, Make It Last Forever by Keith Sweat, and Prince Adore was those songs that dominated R&B charts.
Wow. For
you to be in that article alone, that showed me that Shirley Murdock stood the test of time. Your song, As We Lay, dominates everything.
Wow.
So for a guy to do a student op-ed in the New York Times and talk to you about 2020 greatest songs of all time, that was amazing. How do you feel that people, how do you feel that people are still talking about As We Lay to this day in 2020 and 2021?
It's amazing. I mean, we always thought it was going to be a hit because it was really, you know, reflecting of everyday life, you know, because people find themselves in an as we lay situation. Is not necessarily, you know, two people cheating. As we lay is making a decision that you have not thought about the consequences.
Come on.
That's what As We Lay is all about. And I don't know, like maybe, I'm not sure if many of your viewers here realize that I was not the first person to sing As We Lay.
No, Billy Beck.
Billy Beck was, right.
Human Body.
You did your homework, girl. Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
From a group called The Human Body, and it came out on, I think it was Bearsville's record, and that might have been like about 83, 84, something like that, yes. And so, but it never got into the ears of the people. So I remember when we were, you know, making my record, Larry said, I think we should put As We Lay on your record. I'm like, okay, well, I know it's a hit. But I got a little problem with it, okay?
Right.
I said, but if I'm going to sing the song, I need to add some lyrics. And what I added, Chastity, was we should have counted up the cost, but instead we got lost in the second, in the minute, and the hour as we lay. Because of the consequences attached to the decisions that we make in life.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
and sometimes we tend to make permanent decisions based upon a temporary situation, and you'll be paying off for 18 years.
Okay, agreed.
And it's so funny
Agreed.
because people, to this very day, people come up to me and say, it's like the secret, that song, I made my baby on that song. I said, look, I ain't paying no child support.
Okay.
I said, and you didn't listen, because I said you should have counted up the cost before you got lost.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know, it's really, anytime I think you can hit that bullseye of what's going on in people's lives, I think it just hits home with them, and it stays with them, and they remember what was going on in their lives at that particular time, whether they were actually in an as-related situation. But it's about life. You know, people making decisions. You know, it doesn't have to be your personal thing. It's like a soap opera. It's like watching a movie, you know.
That's it.
So people could relate. And to be honest with you, the record company did not pick that song as a single.
Wow.
The Quiet Storm format broke As We Lay. Back in the day, you remember Quiet Storm?
Yes,
And
I
so,
definitely
honey,
do.
the Quiet Storm DJs and the people, they heard it, the phones would light up, they were requesting it, and Elektra had to make a single out of As We Lay because the people said, this is the song that we want. So you really have to listen to the voices of the people, and that's what's missing in radio today. Corporations are deciding what people want to hear, whereas the radio personalities back then, they used to have a thing called, was it like Make It or Break It? Like they would kind of like play it. If you liked it, you could vote on it or whatever.
Right.
And I think that they've taken the power from the radio personalities who really know their people. They know the community. They should, you should trust what they know about their audience instead of just deciding, somebody sitting up there that don't even listen to your records, deciding what's gonna, what's good for the masses. Somebody just said, make it or break it, right?
That's my friend JR.
Yeah. So, it's amazing. And it's, even when I sing it today, people are singing along, and they got the certain pride, like, whoa, and whoa, they do all that.
it touches me. I mean, for me at 14, Miss Shirley, I'm not gonna lie. For me, when I heard that song at 14 years old, something just told me to replay it. I actually found it on the computer by myself because I was like, I know Miss Shirley Murdock from TD Jakes, but I want to hear something else because I think Kelly Price was the one who made me realize who you were.
Yeah.
And then because of her, I was like, I like her, but I want to listen to this woman. I know who Shirley Murdock is. That was the woman at 9 years old that touched my heart.
But the beauty of Kelly doing it, is because she loved the song so much, and Faith Evans loved the song as well, and so they both told me that they used to sing it, like cover it in their concerts, and when Kelly did the video, she called me and asked me to come be a part of the video. So if you go back and look at the video, I'm in the very front, and I said, baby, I know you think you love that man, but God ain't gonna give you somebody else's husband.
Okay.
So kudos to Kelly, and she loved it so much, she really didn't want to deviate because she had respect for how it was, and periodically, over the years, she would call me and I might come show up and surprise people on the concert and sing with her. And I remember Faith and I at Madison Square Garden some years ago, I came out and did it with her as well. So to have these beautiful young women, these gifted young women, to gravitate to your music and want to do your music and then turn around and invite you to be a part of it is amazing.
Yes, tonight I'm getting ready to break down that song. So on my show, I have this thing called R&B Song Relationships, where I take classic hits and I break them down and talk about them in real life situations. So I'm definitely going to dissect your song today, Miss Shirley, and I am ready, honey. And I have one of my guests. Her name is Anita Hawkins. She's going to be dissecting the song with me, and I wanted to tell you for myself, As We Lay, I love how you talked about it, because for me, when I hear It's Morning, it sounds like your conscience is talking to you.
Yeah.
So when I heard it.
Check this out. You think about it, dirt is done in the dark, right?
And I said that.
Okay. So when it says, it's morning, sunlight shines across your sleeping face. See, the light of day has come in, and now what you did last night has been exposed, and now you got to face the consequences of what you've done. And the people that it's going to affect. So yeah, you're right on it.
Yes, because when I really studied the words and I understood, I was like, the conscience is telling her the truth. It was like the light was the truth, the night was the lie, the deception. And so for me, when I learned about the song, I was like, wow, Miss Shirley was saying not just the person you're singing the song, but the other person, both of them are doing wrong. But when you learn about the consequences in life and what happens, you have to wake up and see another day and really realize and look in the mirror for yourself. Was I the person that did the wrong? Yes or no? And you have to be honest with yourself. And that's
everybody
what I love about
has to face their stuff and face and take responsibility for your actions. You know, nobody gets away scot-free. And so it was a song that I hoped would be a lesson for people. If you lay it out there all raw like that, then maybe people can glean and get the message from these two people's experience not make that same mistake. It's supposed to be a teachable moment.
That's a word, and that's what I learned too. Even though I was like, for me, I was like, I ain't never been in no stuff like this, but I know not to do no stuff like that now.
There you go. See?
So, Miss Shirley, I just really learned from me your signature song, As We Lay. Even though it was Billy Beck, I think you took that and ran with it, and it's been your song forever. And I'm so proud of it, and I'm so happy. And how did you feel when the album went gold? And how did you feel when you realized your album went gold?
It was amazing, you know, never really knowing how popular or how big it could be. I remember I was on tour with Luther at the time, and oh my God, standing on the stage every night on the side watching that genius at work. It was amazing. And to be a young artist and having that opportunity, to be in front of his audience, and Luther was very, very good to me. We had a great relationship until the day he died, and I remember visiting him at the nursing home, having permission to go visit him, and we sung together. I really thought he was going to get better. I thought it was going to take time. But it really broke my heart, when he passed away. But, just like Roger, so many people that mean so much to you, you'd rather have loved them and lost them than to have never had them in your life at all. And so I remember we were sold out for I think 4 nights at Madison Square Gardens. Oh! And I got my gold record while we were in New York at Madison Square Gardens. And Anita Baker came. She came to the show that night.
What?
And my mom was there. And I think... I met Mike Tyson that night too, and let's see. I remember I remember when LL Cool J got started, because he and I did it. We both did a gig at Central State University for their for their homecoming, and to look and see what LL is doing. I got a picture with him in the cane going all that little. I mean, it's amazing, just having an opportunity to cross paths with so many talented people early in their career and seeing where they are. I remember when MC Hammer got started. He was bad back in the before it hit, So it's amazing, to be around in that era. There was so many talented people, but to receive that gold album was one of the biggest highlights of my life, because it said that 500,000 people. That's a lot of people, love your work enough to go spend their hard-earned money to support what you do. So it's and by now I have no idea how. It's probably a triple platinum by now.
I agree, because it's definitely platinum.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And people have sampled it so much, and like you said, with Kelly Price, Jaheim, you had Jennifer Lopez, you have so many people that have sampled this song, and just your words alone, it's warning. Jaheim did that and just took that part right there and put it in his song. So you have so many people from pop to hip hop to R&B that really love you, Miss Shirley, that I really always want you to know that your flowers are well deserved on my platform. So forever and a day, and just looking back at that, you really, really changed the game for the Quiet Storm. You really did. Your record broke everything. For New York Times to just talk about you and just talk about As We Lay, saying it dominated the charts, just goes to show you that you mean something to the culture and you mean something to us.
Yeah,
so I appreciate that.
My record was huge in New York.
Yes, look, and I'm
in the
Louisiana.
South too, just really all over. So
yeah,
I mean, it was just, it's a blessing. That's all I can say. It was absolute blessing.
Yeah. And so around that time, so now since we're 86 and now you made so many more albums, 88, 91, you're in the realms of still making Husband. I love that record too. And In Your Eyes, which I think is a beautiful ballad record for the person that you love the most. Well, I really understand. I love In Your Eyes. So now, since you're in the 80s and the 90s, and then now you're on the soundtrack of The Thin Line Between Love and Hate with H-Town, that I really love. I remember that when I was 6.
Yeah.
So being in that realm alone, you really were cultivating at the time, and now you're in the crossroads. I think with yourself, you're still in this R&B game for almost 10 plus years. So now you're in transition of gospel. How did you feel going now, since you already laid your mark and now you're in the gospel? How did you feel about going back to your gospel roots when you started?
Well, see, for me, baby, I never left gospel.
Come
if
on.
you look at all my records, honey, I always had a gospel song because that's who I am. And I don't know if I shared with you that when we were making that my very first record, I told Larry and Roger, I said, listen, this record cannot go out unless I say something to the Lord.
Come on.
And they said, well, do you have something? I said, yes, I had a little song. It wasn't even 2 minutes long. You know, I shall not forget what you done for me. Yes, absolutely. And so we did that in one take.
What?
Yes, Dale played it. He just played along with me, and I sang it. And the record company did not want it on the record.
What?
But Roger and Larry, they fought for it to be on the record because they knew how much that meant to me. They knew that, you know, I really wasn't trying to do R&B in the first place, but you know, but it's like, let her have that, you know.
Yeah.
And so I put that on my records even before, you know, even when it wasn't popular, you know, to do that. And so I always had an inspirational song, a gospel song on all my records. And so, and even in my shows, I included gospel, something inspirational. You know, we went to church with Truth or Dare. We called it a church vamp, you know, like Truth or Dare. Do you really care? And then it was like the drum, like, has there ever been a time in your life when you needed to hear the truth? Somebody say truth. Somebody say truth. Won't you tell them? We were in the church, okay?
We did that on the bus back in high school, so I
baby.
know what
So, you know, that's it. What's in you comes out you, right?
Right.
And so I was never ashamed of who I am and whose I am. And, you know, I have this privilege. The beauty of being able to be in mainstream is having an opportunity to share this love of God with so many people. To be able to speak to hurting people, say, look, honey, God ain't mad at you. Honey, ain't nothing you've done that God can't forgive. Now, ain't that good news? That's what the gospel is. It's good news. So just having those opportunities to just share your heart and your love and to just to love on people, because people need it. You know, some people feel rejected and dejected and don't feel like nobody loves them. They're not important, you know, but I mean, just to have, I feel like, you know, well, the Bible says that your footsteps are ordered by God. And so I really, like I said, it's because I walked through faith through the door that God opened. I felt like my footsteps were ordered by God. And there were markers in my life, little times in my life, even when I was doing mainstream, that let me know that I was absolutely where he wanted me to be at those particular moments. Somebody said, that's why we love Shirley Murdock. I love you too, baby.
Oh, that's my friend John. He has his own show. Shout out to them R&B representatives. And he does his show, Current R&B Bangers. He loves you. He loves you.
Love you.
We all love you, Miss Shirley Murdock, because I think for us, you meant something. Like, no matter where you went in this life, and that's one thing I love about you, gospel is always in you. It's within you. You sing it, you talk it, you breathe it to me. And that's why when I was gravitating you at 9 years old from TDJ's song, I was like, who is this lady? Because you did something to my heart at 9. Nobody can't do that. Brandy did, because Brandy's my favorite artist. But
that's God's super on my natural.
Come on.
I can't do that by myself.
But alone right there, just hearing your voice, and like for me to even recognize you at 9 and then 14 finding As We Lay, it was like, wait a minute, I know her voice. I hear her voice. I know who she is. You know what I'm saying? So that alone right there just goes to show you that you gravitate to people not in just R&B, but gospel. You can gravitate to somebody, anybody, but we was like, we know she been in church. We know she's from the church circle. So that alone
Bishop
right there
Jakes thought I was a pastor's daughter. He said, I knew you was. I said, that's a pastor's daughter right there.
And I was living in Dallas at the time. So, I mean, for me, I would have thought so too. Because, I mean, the way you sung it so beautifully, and the way you talked about the story about her brokenness and just how the way she renewed herself, it just really meant something to me at that time. I mean, I know at 9, but the way you talked about the Lord, I was like, wow, she is amazing. I love this lady. I don't know who she is. When I grow up, I'm going to learn about her, but I did very well. My family made sure I knew who he was very well. So I just thank you for that from the bottom of my heart.
But you know, it wasn't, you know, people might look and say, oh man, or, you know, her life is, you know, oh, peaches and cream, but there's been some tragedies in my life as well, you know what I mean? But God has been faithful. So I don't want people to think, you know, like I've never had any problems, I've never had any downfalls. Of course I have, but the thing that have kept me together has been that relationship with God. You know, he's been my strength, he's the center of my joy, you know.
Amen.
And I've lost people tragically in my life, you know. So that, but he promised us beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. He'll turn our mourning into dancing, you know. And so just that relationship has helped me to get through the rough times, because it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always hit records. There are times, you know, when the records didn't do nothing. And and something that Roger and Larry shared with me, they said, do you want a hit record or do you want a career?
Come on.
He said, hit records go up the charts and down the charts. He said, when you got a career, baby, see, you know, you build a career, and it takes time. And over these over 35 years, me talking to you today has been a culmination of just building. And then what Roger said to me when As We Lay was on the top of the charts, he said, I need to talk to you. He said, that record can't stay. He said, that record can't stay on top of the charts. He said, right now, he said, you, as far as the record company is concerned, you're the best thing since ice cream, since sliced bread. He said, but when that record comes off the charts, they're going to take your poster down, put somebody else's up, and baby, you'll be lucky if they accept your phone call. He said, this is what you do. Do a great record, do a great live performance, but here's the key: stay touchable to the people. And they'll support you for the rest of your life.
Oh, and that's what
you got to stay touchable to the people. You got to do it. You got to stay touchable to the people.
That is, you're going to be making me cry. So you can't make me cry on this live.
So I'm around. I'm still here. I'm still here because of God, but I'm also still here because of the wonderful people. The people. So that I always feel, and I watch how Roger treated his fans, and I learned from him. He taught me, you know, that you always have to take care of the fans. You know, you sign the autograph, you take the picture. If you're running in the airport, you go, come on, walk with me, baby. You know, you can't miss that plane because you're going to the next gig. But you know, you don't brush them off. These are the people who, you know, they may not be in a place in their life that my late grandma loves you, Shirley Murdock. Oh, but when we get to heaven, I want you to introduce me to your grandma, okay? But these are the same people, you know, who support you. And so I'm glad that I was taught that lesson. And another thing that taught me too, for some young people who might be, you know, striving to be an artist: live by the charts, die by the charts.
Come on.
Early in my career, I said, okay, now where are we at this week? You know, you're trying to see where we were? He said, live by the charts, die by the charts. Don't let the charts dictate and make it and cause you to think. No, don't let the charts determine your value.
Come on.
See?
Yeah.
Because listen, out of all these years, you know, I've never had a #1 record.
What?
But I'm #1 with the people.
Miss Shirley, I love you. Oh my God.
Baby,
that was a word.
I'm #1 with the people. Okay. and listen, and like, I don't know if you remember Jet Magazine. Remember Jet Magazine?
Yes, I remember Jet.
I was #1 with Jet, so I'm #1 with the people. Okay.
Come on.
I have plaques with me and Luther 1 and 2. Okay. I have plaques with me and Freddie Jackson 1 and 2. I think I might have a plaque somewhere around here with either Janet Jackson or Michael Jackson. What? Jet, baby, my people. #1 with the people.
Come on.
So it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter. The people. I would love to have a #1. And listen, I ain't dead yet, so that don't mean it ain't coming. Okay.
Okay. Look.
But I think my records peaked at like #5 in R&B, and As We Lay became top 20 on it crossed over and became part of the top 20. But listen, it's the people. For me, it's the people. It's the
It
people.
is.
It's the people.
For that guy to write about you in 2020, the piece, I was like, yeah, she is.
As you said, this was the beast.
Yes, I was like,
I'm about to look that up.
I'm gonna definitely send that to you because for him
Okay.
to write that and say that about you dominating the charts with Prince and Keith
Wow.
Sweat, I was like,
Wow.
yup.
I'm gonna have to write him.
Yes, you do. You definitely do, and I think that go to show you, like you said, with that article, it talked about the people supported music, and that's, like you said, what we're missing. And I wanted to ask you too, Miss Shirley, Miss Murdock, Mrs. Murdock. I wanted to ask you for sure. We talked about you singing and stuff like that, but your pen game is on point. I don't care. You have a dope pen game, and I always want to honor your pen game on my show because for me, what I learned about just singers and everything else, it takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about a team I learned is songwriting and producing takes a team to make an artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you about songwriting. What is the key of making a hit?
Well, I think one of the major keys is to be authentic, to be real. Yeah. Talk about, like I said, I think I might have mentioned before, hitting the bullseye of somebody's life, what's going on in life. When you can talk about life, because see, the cycles of life continue. It's not just like, you know, the things that we were experiencing. Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. Okay, yeah. So if you can hit that mark on what's going on in life in general, at some point in some cycle of somebody's life, they're going to be able to identify with that. So I think just writing about real stuff, you know, In Your Eyes, I wrote that song about my husband.
I know.
I like looking through his brown eyes. When I woke up this morning, the very first thing I saw was your face. Dawn cannot erase the memory of the magic we made. My heart skips a beat as I watch you while you sleep. You know, so just talk about just real lyrics, you know, real lyrics.
Yeah.
With Computer Love, you know, that's what, with Computer Love, you know, people were searching. They were searching for somebody. You know, I've been searching for someone. It's being a good storyteller and telling a story in such a way where people can visualize the video in their head without even having an actual video. So you can carry them along and create that story with your lyrics and the delivery. Because like, for instance, as we lay, we forgot about tomorrow as we lay. Yeah, that's tender. You see?
Yeah.
But some songs might be, whatever. You know, sometimes you might put a growl on it, or sometimes you might let it flip. You know, you have to create the feeling with how you use your instrument. You know, it might even be a breath. Okay, remember Janet Jackson, funny how time flies when we're having fun. Ooh, baby. You know, she ooh, things like that. You felt that ooh, baby, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You know, ooh, baby, baby, you know, or I just watched Salt and Pepper, baby, 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 baby. So, you know, you feel, you have to make people feel something. And if you can't hit them at the seat of their emotions, that's going to create a memory, you know, and it stays with you. So I think as far as a writer, you have to talking about life and demonstrating it in such a way where you make people feel. That's what art is. Art makes you feel. So even if somebody didn't like your record, it made you feel, I don't like it.
Oh.
You know, if you go to a museum, you know, it makes different people feel different things. And you might go, but it brings about feeling. So it's really art when you bring about feelings. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Because I think for me, Michelle, a lot of people, they always honor you for your singing, but your pen game is on point. And that's why I wanted to ask you that question. Because for me, your pen game, the way you did for Computer Love, it's still going on to this day. Wow. So for me to think about it, I'm like, Miss Shirley wrote Computer Love. I'm like, yes. For me, that's amazing because when you have women songwriters, like, you know, shout out to my girl Tamara Savage. She wrote Whitney Houston's song Heartbreak Hotel. That goes to show you right there, people are taking perspective of how they feel, what they interpret, what people are going through, and they take it into that point and make them understand of what real life is all about.
I also think I think I can write for men and women.
Come on.
I can write for women because I know how we feel, and I can
Yeah.
write for men because I know what a woman wants to hear.
Come on.
You know, uh, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
there's a song that's on okay, for instance, I have a song called "I Still Love You." And that came from, you know, someone that I was in love with, and we broke up, and he went to another relationship, and I was heartbroken. It's like, what do you do with these feelings? It's just
Yeah.
sitting here with pen and paper in my hand. I tried to write the words, but will you understand? I wanted to call you on the telephone, but I thought it would be wrong. I had to tell you just how I felt, so I wrote this little song.
Mm.
I still love you. I really do. People can relate to that, you know?
Yes.
It's just life, you know? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
your life, sometimes it's other people's lives. And so I try to write about life and
Yeah.
feelings, and even in my gospel songs, you know, I have a song called "I Love Me Better Than That."
Mm.
It deals
I
with
love me
people.
better than.
Oh, you know about that? You did your
Hmm.
homework.
Yeah,
And I
well,
wrote that song
my mom,
because,
my aunt played it all the time.
really, I wrote that song
Yes.
because, you know, ministering at women's conferences and also in the women's prison, you know,
Mm.
I see women who are really broken down, you know, by life. And they might be looking good on the outside, but on the inside, baby, they tore up from the floor up, you know. And
Mm.
I wanted to
Yeah.
write a song that would empower them to take back everything the devil stolen. Take back your joy, take back your hope, your dreams, your strength, your self-esteem. Take back your keys, you know. And
That's
that
right.
song says, as I look in the mirror, a broken woman I see, broken down by the streets of life's journey. That broken woman is me. So I take me a little ride back down memory lane, past the verbal and the physical abuse and the drama and the pain. I've got to flee from this crazy situation because it's driving me insane. Now I'm packing all my broken pieces and the little bit of strength that remains because I love me better than that. Than to lay
Ooh.
here and cry or to stay here and die. I'm going to get my life back. I know I made my mistakes,
Ooh.
but it's never too late. So I wanted to write a
So true.
song, you know, like I was never in that type of situation, but I could see it. I've witnessed it with girlfriends who have been in abusive situations. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can write about your personal experience, but the things that you've seen and witnessed, you know, in your life, and you just tell the story. And so, you know, as I look in the mirror, you can imagine that a broken woman I see, broken
Mm.
down by the streets of life's journey. Who you looking
Mm.
at? That's me.
Mm.
So how did I get here? I take me a ride back down memory lane,
Mm.
past the verbal, all the things that happened to me. Now, I got to get out of this because it's driving me crazy. It's driving me insane. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pack up all my broken pieces
Come on.
in the little bit of strength that remains because I love
Love
me
me
better than
better
that.
than that. Oh, Bishop, I swear, if you got a church, I'm going to your church. I'm definitely going. You and your husband, I need to come because I'm telling you, that is a word, and that's why I think I fell in love with the song. And my aunts and them, you know, growing up, going to church on Sundays and stuff. We used to hear the radio station in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So that song right there was always
You said where in Louisiana?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the
That
capital.
Red Stick.
Yes, that's Red Stick,
Baton
Baton
Rouge,
Rouge.
yes.
So for us alone, listening to those radio stations, me growing up at such a young age, just learning that my aunts and them was so inspired by your music and touch. And like I said, for me, even dealing with that, you know, growing up, my mom was in an abusive relationship with my father years ago before I was born. And seeing a lot of people around you, you be like, Lord, like, I don't want to be that, but I want to make sure that I'm going over that. So for
Mm-hmm.
myself, looking at that, that's just a testimony for everybody. And it was just a testimony to help people that have gone through situations and God is on your side. You know what I'm saying? So for me, and learning about your song growing up, I was like, I know that voice. I know who she is. I'm like, I know Miss Shirley Murdock. I'm like, I know that voice. And so your voice has transcended and followed me for years and years to come. And I'm just so blessed. And thank you so much for that. I really,
Oh, you're
truly
very welcome. And
understand now.
the blessing too is this, after all these years to still be able to do it. That's the blessing, to still
Yeah.
be able to do it. So I count it all
Amen.
joy. Absolutely.
Amen. I appreciate that. I do have another question. If you can describe one word about Shirley Murdock, the album that made 35 years today, what would the one word be?
Let's see. See, after 35 years, one word. I
would
want to
say
say,
for me, I would say trendsetter.
oh, bless your heart, know your parts.
It was a trendsetter.
I'll go with you. But I was thinking, you know, I want to say still here. That's two words, but still here. Still here. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I love this album, and I've been listening to it for like 3 weeks straight. So I've been like just obsessed. And then just listening to it for me, the reason why I say trendsetter for me is because what this album did in '86, it started a revolution for what was to come. I mean, you and Janet were back to back. Whitney, all y'all were really at that time Black women dominating the charts. And I think for me, seeing this album and seeing what Roger and Larry did for you at that time, they really were setting the tone. I mean, they were already established. Then you had Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They were all coming right after each other.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all were really making a mark for us young kids to understand who you were, but you really set the tones for the Jodeci's, for Mint Condition, all these people that came after you because that was a band, but you were a part of that legacy. And so for me, I just really love Shirley Murdock. I am blessed to even remember, you know, As We Lay at 14, but at the same time, your album alone was a trendsetter. And I'm just so blessed and happy that you did this. And I had another question, one more question for you, Michelle. I want to ask you, and we probably don't have to want to answer, but I do respect if you don't want to. But if you had to tell Larry and Roger something today about what they did for you in your career, what would it be?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, because I'm still chewing off of the wisdom that they shared with me, you know, the deposit that they made into my life. Thank you. Thank you. That will cover so much ground. Thank you. Just thank you.
And we, you know what, like I said, I really thank them as well from the bottom of my heart, because for them, Computer Love, for y'all to still be setting trends, and for Usher to still be making that song Computer Love, that goes to show you that your music is timeless. And I'm so proud of you, Miss Shirley, and everything you've done for R&B and gospel alone is just so amazing. And I wanted to know, do you have any upcoming projects, anything? Because I'm proud.
I do. I want to tell you about it, but I'll tell you a quick story. I was in periodically when my schedule would coincide with my husband's schedule, who's still the music director and keyboard player for Zap. I would come out and I would come out and surprise the people, do Computer Love. But one particular time, they were opening for Usher. And I heard years ago that Usher was a big fan, right? And I think Go On Without You is his favorite song. And so I finally had an opportunity to meet Usher. And then when he came out, you know, to do his show, he gave me the biggest shout out. I mean, you know, so for somebody that's been, you know, in the game for a long time, for me, like when the young people just take the time out to recognize you and to give you a shout out, that made my day. That meant so much. And then for him to turn around and, you know, and include Computer Love in his new song, you know, that's such an honor. So.
No, I agree, Miss Shirley. And that's why I say for me, just like I've learned, you know, through the years about music and stuff like that. If your music can like set trends from 86, 96, 2006, 2016, 2026, I mean, these decades for years to come, that goes to show you that your music is pure, it's timeless. It means so much to us because, like you said, your people, we love you and we support you because your contributions to the music has made us make TikTok videos. I mean, go online dating. Everything that you talked about back in came to fruition in 2021. So that alone right there means so much to me, and I'm so excited. And I want you to let people know about your new single that you have coming out tomorrow. That I'm ready
I will. But can I say one more thing? I said that last time, right?
Yes. You good? Hey,
but I want to say
you are good.
I'm just so appreciative to the people, and the people have helped make my life a dream come true, and have helped me to feel so good about what I'm doing and what I have done and what I've accomplished. Because, like I said, I've never had a #1 record. I've never had a Grammy. I've never had any of those awards. But my award and my reward is just all this love that I get from the people. Because see, those things can be stolen. Those things can tarnish. I mean, it would be great. Don't get me, it'd be great to have those things. But I get so full from the love that the people give me, and that fuels me. That keeps me going. So I just, again, to the people, mwah, thank you so much for helping making my life a dream come true. So now on to what's going on. Okay, I have a brand new single that's going to come out tomorrow.
Yay!
Yes.
I posted you too.
I did I did a cover of Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, their classic song, People Get Ready. And I was inspired to do it, my husband and I, because, and once my husband, because we're partners, you know, he's my manager. He's also my producer. He's my writing partner. Like, I'm lyrics, he's music. And so that's a great music marriage. So,
yes.
You know, last year was really rough. 2020 was rough for a lot of people, for all of us, if we're just honest, you know. And, you know, there was the social unrest, you know, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, so many to name, these social atrocities, and let's just call it murders.
Yeah, my uncle was one.
People. And so, and then there was the pandemic, you know.
Yeah,
it's just so much going on. Our lives were turned upside down, and like I said earlier, the music that we listen to, artists, they would always let the music reflect the times, what's going on socially. So my husband and I were thinking we wanted to put something in the atmosphere. I said, okay, well, should we write something? And then we started listening to some of the old songs. You know, James Brown, like, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. You know, when we were not feeling good about being black. Or Denise Williams, Black Butterfly, you know, and Donny Hathaway, you know, Young, Gifted, and Black, you know, and even the Beatles, you know, Let It Be, John Lennon, Let It Be. The music was always something that could inspire us while we were in the midst of going through tribulations and trials and hardships. So we went back and we're listening to People Get Ready. And we think about it, everybody's been praying for an answer. You know, we were dealing with all this negativity and this vitriol that we see on the news, and, you know, everybody's separate, you know, everybody offered to their corners, you know, Democrats, Republicans, black, white, it was crazy. And so People Get Ready was a song that lets us know that there's a change coming, there's a train coming. And then we added, there's a change coming. So when you're praying for something, you're not praying amiss. You're praying, believing that God has heard your prayer and that the answer is coming. So you got to get ready for the answer. And if you don't, you'll miss it. Hello? Can the church say amen? Can somebody type in amen?
Amen. They finna type it right now in 3 seconds.
So you have to get ready when you believe that something's going to happen. So we're praying for better times. We're praying for a new administration, for, you know, more unity, for civility. And we're praying for a cure for this invisible killer out there called COVID. Too many people have lost too many loved ones to COVID. And so we were thinking, like, what song could we do? And so we decided that People Get Ready was the perfect song for such a time as this. So we redid it, and we didn't deviate much musically until we got to the vamp. We had to kind of go church a little bit. The vamp, you know. You know, I'm a vamp queen, right?
Yes, ma'am. Look,
the vamp that thing out and go to church, you know. But and we have a video, a lyric video that a young lady by the name of Jade Simone did. Shout out to Jade Simone, a beautiful lyric video. Oh, I just can't wait for you guys to see it. But that's going to come out, I think, Sunday. But the actual song is going to be released tomorrow on every streaming platform, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your music. So tomorrow is the day, and I'm so excited. I can't wait for everybody. Somebody said, yes, vamp. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. I pray that it's going to be a blessing to you to get ready for this change, because it is coming. And you say, don't need no ticket. All you got to do is get on board. Faith is the key to open up the door. Come on and board them. We're going to board this thing.
I'm ready. I'm ready to get on right along with you, Miss Shirley. I'm ready.
Yeah. I'll definitely be streaming, Shirley. Well, bless your heart and all your parts. Thank you, baby.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so deeply honored. And also, I know you're on YouTube as well. I did see your Monday devotionals. I mean, you do devotionals all the time on YouTube as well.
And we're going to be putting more content on there, you know.
Yay!
Absolutely. And then I might do some interviews with some of my friends in the music business, and go back and get some of those old performance tapes, you know, and put them on there. So I think people enjoy that. So if you would just follow me, I would love for you to subscribe and follow my YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram at Shirley Murdock, the number 4 real, and Twitter at Shirley Murdock, Facebook Shirley Murdock.
And when the world open back up, Michelle, I want to see you back on acting again too, because I've never been in none of your plays. But I do want to go. Yeah.
And the last movie I did is called 𝗦𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗍𝗶. And I think it's going to come out on Netflix. And I played the matchmaker, and it was a lot of fun. So, but I'll put all that on social media when those things come out. How about that?
Yay! Well, you know, Miss Shirley, we love you, and we will forever honor you on my platform.
Thank you.
I am so blessed and so happy. And you almost made me cry about 3 or 4 times on this live. It was like, Lord, the Lord's going to touch my soul. Like, please, Lord, let me get through. But you know what? That goes to show you that your heart is so pure and so genuine. And it goes to show that you touch lives for all of us all across the world. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to now your 35th anniversary to Shirley Murdock's self-titled debut album. So proud of you. And thank you so much. Shout out to the Zap band for following my page as well. They have definitely honored you. They reposted you on their page.
My people.
Yes, your people.
My peeps.
Yes,
family, you know.
And, you know, shout out to also your husband, Mr. 𝗦𝗶𝗿𝗶𝗆. I want to definitely give him his flowers because he was part of the Zap group. And we definitely, for sure, everybody from Zap to also honor them as well, because they have set the mark for all of us in music history, and you as well. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations on everything, Miss Shirley. And make sure you let me know anything you need me to post or support.
Thank you, baby.
I'm your girl.
Thank you. Okay,
thank you
I will officially adopt you as my niece. How about that?
Yes, look, I will be your niece. I could be your play niece. I don't care. I love me some Shirley Murdock, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Tonight, guys, please join me. We are actually going to be honoring Shirley Murdock's song As We Lay. We're about to get ready to dissect it, and the question of the day is it okay to be in love with somebody else's husband? So we're going to make sure we're going to dissect them lyrics and talk about what Miss Shirley was saying, guys, and make sure you join me at the 7 o'clock hour with my special guest, Miss Anita Hawkins, as we celebrate the 35th anniversary of Shirley Murdock's classic song, As We Lay. God bless you, Miss Shirley, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. I love you, and thank you so much for praying for me, you and your husband, for us. Please still pray for us in Texas. We're kind of starting to get back to where we're going, and praying for all your friends and everybody in Texas from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. God bless you, baby.
My pleasure. Yes.
Take care.
Love you too. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We are done. We are ending our show for Miss Shirley Murdock. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.